Hey Fish Tubes, Jeremy Wright here. Today's Monday, March 24, 2025, and I'm about to go through and show you tanks A through Q indoor stuff and a few little jars and things like that just to show you what I've got going on this spring. Um, I generally don't put my face on the fish tubes, but I thought I'd tell you guys a little bit about who I am, what I do. Just after COVID, I founded Arkansas's Planted Aquarium Club, and that's our state's largest aquatics group. So, it is a statewide thing. I'm located in Little Rock, Arkansas. I've been doing aquatics and organic gardening um, really avidly for this round a little over 10 years, but I've been involved in both for pretty much my whole life. My Both of my parents were aquarium keepers. Um, both of my parents, so both sets of my grandparents were into aquatics. My mother's family had aquariums in years past. My mom is the youngest of five. Two of her brothers were very uh, deep into the aquatics hobby. One of them bred guppies, the other just had big, beautiful tanks, and I always admired that stuff. When I was very young, my parents had a 29-gallon tank kind of downstairs in our home, and I just loved that when I was little. So my mom's parents had a large Japanese garden in their backyard, and in that they had koi ponds, plural, that were connected by like rock paved streams and fountains and big beautiful Japanese gardens around them. My father's parents had aquariums, and they're really the ones who kind of pulled me back in. So my parents got divorced when I was about three. My mom took down the 29-gallon tank, just stuffed it in the closet for a little bit, and my dad's mother had a 20-gallon long, a 10-gallon, 5-gallon, and she was always dragging us into pet stores, me and my younger sister, who's a couple years younger than me. And that's really where I started cutting my teeth with that stuff. She's the one who got me involved in planted aquariums and showing me some of that stuff. This is back in like the late '80s and early '90s, so we've evolved a long way since then. But that's what got me started. Um, I had aquariums from the time I was probably 8 or 9 in my bedroom when I was a little kid. I found that 29-gallon I was talking about out in the closet storage in our garage. I was like, "Hey, Mom, why aren't we using this? This is awesome." Oh, sorry. I guess I was leaning a little too hard on the back of the rocking chair there. Um, so that's kind of where I started really diving into that stuff. So through high school, college, and after, I always had aquariums, even in my dorm rooms when we were told, "Hey, you can't have pets." I had aquariums. I had a 20-gallon tall, like sitting on top of some of my dorm furniture. Nobody said anything. That was great. Loved it. So when I grew up a little more, when I was 27, I bought this house, and I've been here for like 15 years now. But a few years into it, I built some of these cabinets and these built-in shelves behind us, specifically to put a 55 here. Now, this is not the one that was originally placed there. This tank actually used to be up there. There was a different tank down here, which moved to Cogburn Aquatics a couple of years ago when I did a home renovation. I gave away basically all of my aquatics hobbies. So there were 30 or so aquariums, and I gave away probably 25 of them. Just whoever wants them, if I trust you and you've been in the hobby, come get them. So I've been writing tech articles and promoting natural aquariums, like father fish style stuff, since I caught on to that about 5 years ago. I was on the father fish staff for his Discord channel, probably 2020, 2021. And then I went through a divorce. I just kind of got away from some of that stuff. But I have a YouTube channel and have had since whatever, 2018 or something. You guys can look back. But I founded a Facebook group, the Arkansas Planet Aquarium Club, in our local society, and started hosting events and things. that's who I am. So without further ado, let's go through and look at some of the tanks that I have going right now inside. I think we should start here with tank A. Now, granted, I'm holding a camera totally different than I normally would. This is tank A. It's a 55-gallon guppy tank. This started kind of as a Central American, North America biotope, and I apologize for the shaky camera. I've got a bad right hand that I nearly chopped off back in 2019, so I'm kind of lucky I've got it. But just getting a look at this tank. Yellow guppies, ancestral catfish. I removed about 3, maybe close to 4 pounds of plant matter from this tank over the last week or so, mainly because it was just a huge jungle. And this tank it's a prolific producer. So all of my aquariums, with, let's see, 2 or 3 exceptions, are soil under pool filter sand. That is just the winning combo. And most of them are either unfiltered or just have. This is one of my few sponge filters. I'm actually not too much of a fan of sponge filters. A lot of people who run tanks this way are a big fan of them. I'm just not. But that's kind of a peek at what's going on in this tank. Domia panel lights under the cabinet. There's one fluorescent tube. I guess that's a T8. And a 4-foot shop light. Fantastic. 6,500 Kelvin. These things will grow the crap out of plants. So yeah, that's tank A. Now let's get a look right above it. This is one of my newer tanks. I resealed this 55 that was given to me by an older lady in the hobby when it was leaking. And I repurposed it a couple of weeks ago, or actually resealed it and then repurposed it. This is now the home for my convict cichlids. There were 2 convict colonies, one in a 37-gallon, roughly cube tank, and one in the 29-gallon that's in my daughter's room, which I'll show you in a bit. That used to be tank B. Now this is tank B. And this one's just jamming along. So similarly, soil under pool filter sand. It is a mix of soil. So it's, I generally start with like going around finding whatever potted plants that I had from the last season or dry spell or winter or summer, whatever, season or opportunity they didn't make it through. And I'll grab a couple of potted plants that have deceased, dump them in the bottom of a tank, and then usually add some peat, a mix of soil amendments, and then try to do a heavy cap of pool filter sand. So this tank is rocking along. I think there are less than 30 convicts in here. I haven't counted them, but they're just jamming. So this is, like I said, this is my newest tank. Now let's go look at tank C. This little guy, little nano tank, I think it's about a 3.5-gallon rimless nano contraption that basically, this is, tank C. I bought this tank from a friend of mine who was running out of room. She's kind of deep in the hobby, frequently redoes her stuff. But this tank's been here for a couple of years, maybe 3 even. And gosh, maybe longer than that, longer than 3 years. So basically everything you see in here is from my planting and arrangement, but I've enjoyed it. Up above here, begonia, arrowids, this stuff, Ruellia simplex, which is, oh gosh, Mexican petunia. So guppies, one single, neon tetra that's been in here for years that I rehomed. The guppies in here are guppy endler hybrids, so they're kind of separate from most of my other critters, but that's this tank. Let's move along. Tank D sits in here in my living room on these shelves next to tank A. It's a 20-gallon tall, semi-Asian tank. Right now it has white cloud minnows and cherry barbs. Mostly Asian plants. There's also some Italian val and red root floater, a little bit of frog bitten salvinia in the top. The floaters are in here because I was having a little bit of an algae problem on the grasses, and lots of light. So another Domia panel light and a Hygger 24/7 planted plus, or whatever they call them. I like those Hygger lights a lot. The heater I think is off in this tank, and anyway, it's kind of a rocking tank. A little bit of an Asian theme. We got Buddha hanging out in there, and trying to start growing a bunch of crypts. So we'll see how that goes. They're slow growing, but it's cool. Tank E is here in my guest bathroom, along with Tank C that I showed you, and it's what it is. This was kind of an overflow tank for guppies. It's also got a white convict. It's not an albino. It's just a mutation. It's a solid white convict. I didn't want it to die when it was a baby, so I pulled it out. Actually, there were like 3 of them in here. For whatever reason, only one of them survived. Oh, there it is, way down there. So I need to move that guy into the other convict tank and just see what happens. Or maybe move that one, try to buy another white convict. Some people call them polar whites. It did have polar blue parents, so maybe this is a polar white, you know, who knows. Also in here, some little things. These were half-gallon jalapeno jars. You can see down in this one, there are, I should say, what do we call them? Red really shrimp. You know, not fully red, like these guys in here. This is roughly a gallon, maybe a little smaller. These little ecosystems have been going unfiltered. They're same stuff. Soil, under sand, deep substrate, and they're just stable long term. There's not really a lot to talk about on Tank E here because it's hard to view, and it's a jungle. So let's move on. Now we've kind of entered an interesting area. This is Tank F. F stands for frog. We're in my foyer, so maybe F stands for foyer too. But this is an American toad tadpole tank. Last year it was oh wow, I just found some little kid lip prints. I guess that's my daughter, she's 3. This year we're doing American toads. Last year it was, sorry for the shakies, sorry about that. Last year it was leopard frogs. So we grew out some leopard frogs. This year we're trying American toads. Oh, here we go. I got a view of one of them, 2 of them. So they're rocking along. It's kind of warm in here, 70 degrees. So, you know, it's springtime here in Arkansas. These are going fast. I'm really surprised the toads are going so much faster than the leopard frogs. Let's see. I guess we'll just skip over to Tank G. It's right beside it. Tank G is a little 10-gallon guppy tank. This is one of those tanks that was in my grandmother's house as I was growing up. So this is a very old aquarium that has been rebuilt, refurbished, resealed. G stands for guppies right now. This is a kind of a yellow mutt guppy or blonde mutt guppy tank. And some of them aren't blonde. Some of them are just things that were born to these fish. But this has a little sea aura lamp on it, which is okay. I did some test videos on this light. It does indeed grow plants, so that was kind of the goal, right? I'll give you another view of this tank when I get around to the other side, but for now we're going to slide around to Tank H, which is here. Tank H is one of the 37 gallons that I've got 2 37 gallons. One's actually behind it, and they're totally different form factors, different shapes. This tank is where a lot of my convicts were living prior to 2 weeks ago. It currently has 1 gold angel and 1 goldfish. This was a this is a goldfish that came from my friend Gates' place. She bought some pond plants that had goldfish eggs in it, unknowing to us all. And she was like, "You want a goldfish?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" She didn't quite know what to do with it. So when she was breaking her pond down last fall, she gave that to me. It's been growing out here. Similarly, the gold angel came from her, and I'm probably going to be removing the goldfish, moving it outside very shortly when I make a pond. My tubs and ponds aren't really ready this year. Goldfish we got an ant on the glass. Anyway, this is going to be an angel tank. So I'll probably like stand up some slate in here, give the angels some good room for breeding. Of interest, sweet potatoes float, just in case you ever wondered. You know, who knew? They grow great in tanks. These are gold Yukon regular potato eyes that I just broke off and set down in the hang on backs. And that was kind of an experiment, but they're doing great. There's lots of other plant matter up here, but this tank recently got planted out. I just got a couple of Hatonia and Flata plants, and I'm trying those out. I haven't had luck in the past growing these, but they seem to be doing well right now. I just stuck some plants I had in here. So some of the stuff's from my dad's pond, the Hatonia, and some of it is from Tank A that I was telling you I had a bunch of stuff that just needed to come out. This stuff, all of this was the plant matter that was in this tank H that I just showed you. Some salvinia. This is a lot of guppy grass, frog bit, a little bit of duck weeds. That's what I was really trying to get out. And the pistia, water lettuce, this stuff hasn't been very healthy. It's actually infected, so I removed it. And so really that bin is just kind of throwaway stuff, but I don't like hurting plants, so whatever. Maybe I can figure out a way to get the stuff out. It's got cyanobacteria growing in the pistia, and it seems like everywhere I move it, it still has it. So I don't know. I might just have to destroy it. Otherwise, this tank was basically reestablished about a week ago. So it's been running. It just had all the plants and all the fish pulled out, and then different plants and fish put in. Same substrate, same filters. The filters were running just like that for months. Let's slide over. This is Tank I. This is a kind of difficult one to get a good view in, just because it's got plants all around it. But this is an Endler tank. It's very dark. It doesn't have its own dedicated lighting, and it's got a lot of tannins in it. So there's wood in here, a plant that, gosh, I don't actually know what that is. Whatever, that came out of one of my ponds last fall and kind of got plunked in here, and then it died back. It hasn't really recovered yet. Also in there, one of the Hatonia and Flata plants from my dad's pond. Actually, two of them. There's one over there too. A little bit of Riccia fluitans, and some frog bit. That's another Ruellia simplex, Mexican petunia. And there's plenty of stuff down in there. There's a heater, unfiltered. The heater doesn't. I don't even think it's on. It doesn't need to be in there for those little guys. Endlers, just room temp is fine for them. Let's wiggle around and get a look at the next tank. This is probably the most difficult one for me to photograph or video, just because it's right across from one of my workspaces that has a lot of light, and so it's what is it? It's a fluorescent tube, or no, that's an LED tube, and two more of these Domia panel lights. So just that, mainly because they're right across from this workspace, my kind of lab space. This tank is really hard to shoot. but we'll try. Just bear with me. They're going to be reflections, and the reflections are going to be just challenging for us. So maybe I can't really get an angle on it. That's just the normal problem. So this is a 37-gallon Arkansas biotope attempt. However, it's got some pothos and some non-Arkansas plants up in the top. But this is one of my favorite little gems of my aquatics hobby. This is, gosh, I'm losing the name. It's a brassica. It's closely related. We call it like water cabbage. Doggone it. There's also a little bit of zebra tradescantia, sweet potatoes kind of hanging out in the top of this. Riccia fluitans. One of the non-Arkansas plants down in here. You probably recognize this stuff. Rotala, rotundifolia. I'll eventually pull that out. But these gups were, oh, there's one that needs to come out of there. These flame guppies were a best of show in Arkansas. So not just of guppies, but all fish in 2023, I believe. So this is a colony of those guys that have restarted a couple of years later, trying to get that strain built up and going again. Don't really know how many of them are in here right now, but quite a few. The water's getting kind of dark and some algae on that leaf. That's probably a lizard's tongue. But kind of wiggle around, see if I can give you a little bit better view of some of these things. Also another plant, parrot's feather. That is not an Arkansas native. So there are a few plants that should be coming out of here. Little bits of liverwort. It's kind of cool. A lot of this stuff literally came out of my dad's pond and the drainage ditch at the back of my place. Here's the back of the tank G, the little 10-gallon guppy tank that I was saying came from my grandmother's house originally. And yeah, the Seora lamp certainly grows plants. Now let's get a peek down in some of this other stuff. These are my guppy grow tubs. So this first one, call this one tank K. No substrate, just a bunch of plants and some yellow, oh, where are they? There are yellow king tiger cobra guppies from John Oliver's place, J. Oliver's Aquatics. Oh, there's one right there. There are probably 4 or 5 adults in here right now, and I'll probably give them a dedicated tank soon. I like these guys, they're pretty cool. Wiggling over, see what we can find. Tank, let's see, L. It's got another Hitonia from the pond. These are white Galaxy Mosaic guppies from 2023, Aquashella Dallas. They were growing at a friend's house and she just started giving me some slowly over the years. I ended up giving quite a few back to her months ago, or maybe 2 months ago, just at a guess. And similarly, no substrate. This is just a little tub bin that I have to keep kind of a close eye on. Moving over, this is a mutt guppy tub. So a lot of salvinia on the top of it, pennywort, Brazilian pennywort also. And we might not get the best view in here. We can't see through the sides of these, unfortunately. But basically, mutt guppies and different kind of mutt guppies. But there's something really interesting in here. This is our native frog bit. So this is, now there's also some pistia, water lettuce in there, but that plant and quite a few of them down under there, it's the native frog bit to North America. Very cool thing. Doesn't grow as prolifically as Amazon frog bit, but still cool little spot. These are growing under these domia panels, and I dig them. I'll be buying more of those, especially for these undershelf type things. Very cool. For now, let's wiggle onto a different zone. All right, this is tank O. One of my newer acquisitions. This was a gift from a friend, and it currently doesn't have any fish in it because I had my, let's see, part of my group of red metal lace guppies that were also from John Oliver, J. Oliver's Aquatics were hanging out in here. And they were in there when I got it. So this was just kind of an adoption. And I've moved them. I'll take you back to that tank, which used to be tank B. It's now tank Q. And anyway, this is kind of it's just a little, whatever, 3.5 gallon nano system. This little guy had some algae problems, so I didn't build this tank. I just kind of added to the plant matter, and noticing like the hydrocotyl, the Brazilian pennywort, has some stuff on top, and oh, fortunately, it's just debris, not algae that's really growing down on it. But I dig this little zone. Hasn't been here very long, so not a lot of time to grow. This little palm, maybe I can help it. Maybe. You want some more light? Get out here. Whatever. This is an interesting little thing. Costco cookie jar, free aquarium. I literally dug this out of the trash at my church in the nursery room. And it's got koi guppy fry in it that were just given to me by a friend. Same friend that this aquarium came from. This little tank has been running stable for like 2 years, which is why it's got this nice big crypt in it. Soil under sand. The tank next to it, it's this is like aqua soil. Again, I didn't build or set up this tank, I adopted it. My tanks all have soil under sand. They jam along. They grow plants, they grow fish. The fry have probably been in there for 3 weeks, something like that. But that's this little zone. Also, Domia panel light, buy them off Amazon, pretty cool things. And now we've made it to tank Q. This is my most recently reestablished tank. This is a 29 gallon aquarium that did have one of my convict cichlid colonies in it. It now has baby convicts. So if you've watched some of my shorts recently, there's a baby convict, there's a baby convict. I counted like 13 in here earlier today. There are 3 baby convicts, some baby guppies, another baby convict, and more baby guppies, and more baby convicts. So this is where my red metal lace guppies from 2 different tanks came. They, one of these groups was in one of my tubs. The other group was in that little nano tank that I told you I just adopted, a month or so back, maybe 2 months ago, not that long ago. And so hang on back, little undershelf Walmart LED, and a Higer, same type, the 24/7 planted variety. So basically there's no hardscape in here, and I just stuck plants that I pulled out of tank A in here. I mentioned tank A, the first one I showed you, I'd pulled like 3 or 4 pounds of plant matter out. I was selling off packages of that trim. I actually sold out and had to come in here and start robbing plants and trimming hornwort and Elidea densa and guppy grass out of these tanks just to finish filling the orders from people who were like, hey, I want to buy that, I want to buy that. And I was like, hey, cool, let's do it. So these are some of my favorite guppies. The males are just rockin', and I digs them. Super dig them. So they're going along pretty well. And yeah, that's tank Q. This is my most recently set up. And so for those of you who've stuck with me, actually, let me change areas. So if you stuck with me through this very unusual video that's just a totally different form, shooting on a different camera, actually just my phone with the forward-facing camera. Sorry, rear-facing camera. Is that a rear? Yeah. This is not how I normally shoot videos. So if you stuck with me through this one, thank you. Kudos to you. You're a champ, and I appreciate it very much. That's sort of what I've got going on for spring 2023. Before I really get started with any of my outdoor stuff, I'll share that stuff, but it's all in my greenhouse. My greenhouse is a wreck. I haven't even started playing with it since wintertime. Central Arkansas is a humid subtropical zone. I think I'm, depending on what map you look at, I'm either grow zone 8A or 8B. This is one of the, even though it's the middle of Arkansas, this is one of the warmest spots in Arkansas because it's an urban area. And yeah, so this is kind of my play zone here in my foyer, and I repurposed it to aquariums and grow spots for tropical plants. This is where I drag my tropical plants in for the winter, and they've just now started going outside for the year. But this is my fun stuff, right? This is the stuff I like. I don't care if anybody else likes it. Other people complain. I don't care. Don't care. I'm gonna keep bringing all my tropical plants in every winter. And that's just fine. That's probably why I'm single, right? But nah, that's personality flaws, separate, unrelated. But anyway, this is my stuff. This is what I love, and thanks for watching. If you also love this sort of stuff, give me a like, subscribe, drop some comments. I'd love to get to know you, hang out. Oh, check this out. More Domia panel lights up here. These similarly just purchased off Amazon. Literally strapped to a mop handle and hung from the ceiling. I thought they were going to be temporary, but they're not. I needed grow lights kind of down close to all this stuff growing above the aquariums. So thanks for watching. Catch you guys soon.